All right, good evening, good evening. This is Martin here coming you for another week. I suppose I've been away since then for our live Facebook. So tonight I'm here again bringing you about the understanding about the AI bubble, which is the title above in here. Now, many of you may have known, really concerned about what's happening in the US market after the technology and also the generative AI making such a big move in the month of June, right? Started to undergo what we call profit taking. Some people were talking about, hey, is this like a .com crash? So what are their expectations in here? Or is this another bubble that has happened in the past? So tonight we'll be looking into some of the evidence that we've seen before, and of course I will also explain in simplest term that all of you can understand, at least especially those of you who are already in the US market, to be prepared for what we are able to likely to go through. So this is my attempt to share with you what I understand about the AI bubble, lesson from the .com crash, expectation, and whether the market can push higher from that. So with that, give me a thumbs up in here. If you are our regular supporter, do pencil those in here. It's nice to know I have friendly audience in here rather than the usual members that I've seen. So thank you again for coming tonight, and I hope that with this live Facebook that I'm about to share with you, you probably get some sort of understanding where is likely this market's going to be. All right, let's get started. So tonight the agenda will be the introducing of the artificial intelligence bubble, and what are these AI stocks. I think many of you would have known and seen some of these as I'm about to explain it. As you know, you will have this stocks continue to flash upon your TV screen or in your YouTube, and I will also look into the history and the timeline of this similar stock rise so we can learn from it. You know, after all, it is a bubble, as we call it today, and you also want to best defend ourselves. When you say defend ourselves in this AI stock, what we are talking about is basically how to read into what's happening in here. You know, reading this, is there any way we can get out what would be our strategy going forward? And also I would also tie it into the Bursa AI stock. You know, in Malaysia, in the perspective of AI, I think many of you would have known this is data center, all right, and also the tech stocks review in here. So that's going to be something I will be covering tonight in here. Thank you, Nora, for your supporters, and I hope that tonight you will have a good coverage of what they tell me. Now, if you look at this picture, this is the AI bubble, and there was a lot of money in there. So by having a needle prick on it, do we see a lot of the so-called money in the market? Money in the market, you put it on the table in here. Again, it depends on where you enter, I think, I suppose, right? The keyword here is where do you enter? Do you enter high or you enter low? So if you enter high, then likely once this bubble bursts, you're likely to see more market coming down, and definitely not very happy for your portfolio we've seen here. All right, so that's the so-called picture that I want to turn on to you guys so you can understand where I am looking for and able to help you in this. Okay, so the pain point as a trader will say that, is it time to buy more AI stock if I have missed it? So then my question is, can I jump back in and buy some of these stocks? All right, or I've bought it, should I sell it? Right, because some of these stocks has made triple digit gain, you know, in a very short time, some as low as 3 months. As you can see also in our CV3 among our scoreboard members, some have done pretty well too, and that is also due to the big rise of the AI generative which also come into our shore, right? Or some of you said, I want to, I just want to take the easy way. Maybe I should listen for some tips, whether to buy some more and sell, or maybe I learned the skill to read the chart. And of course, in Trade VSA and what we've been doing in our live Facebooks as part of a public service in here is to teach our audience to be a smarter trader and investor. And I think over time, you would probably see, the message that I try to give to you is try to be smarter. All right. Don't be a sucker. I always say don't be a sucker. Always follow the smart money. And that's what basically being a smarter trader is all about. Good evening, James. Good evening. Thank you for coming. All right. So, of course, the context of tonight's topic and the technology that we use will generally be Pentagon Guider. So this is the underlying that many of you would have used the Pentagon Guider, or at least using the Smart Roby or member of our VSA 360 in here, right? That's right. Yep, Nora, don't be a sucker. So we all know that AI has already transformed many of the industry around the world. And this is a slide that I got from SNS. You can see the AI analytics. And one of the video I watched recently by Jensen Huang, which is the CEO of NVIDIA when he was in Taiwan. He was at the conference and he talked about their CUDA, okay, NVIDIA AI data center CUDA. And he talked about how they're able to develop all these AI packages. Pretty much when Microsoft first came out, they developed the Excel, PowerPoint, and what else? The Excel spreadsheet, okay? So what NVIDIA is trying to do right now is doing something similar. Rather than rewriting everything from scratch, they are developing all these tools to enable user, scientists, constructor, entrepreneur to build this new and upcoming those tools. And we have seen AI has already transformed many of the industry. And previously, if you have followed me, I also talk about how ChatGPT and generative AI will replace a lot of the humans. Just in the context of Trade VSA, we are building our trading bots already, right? So you can see that many of the buy and sell transaction, we are building an autonomous trading bot that can do buying and selling based on Pentagon Guider. So it is already transformed how we see the world it is. In terms of the biggest beneficial so far has been the manufacturing, fintech, also smart city, education, e-learning, right? We learn very differently. Now you have the ChatGPT that you can always ask questions, why is the world like this, rather than the old way of reading the books, only when you need those information. So definitely AI has generated around a lot of buzz line in here. All right. As such that a lot of the analysts now are talking about these specific companies. I think you know what I'm talking about. Just on top there, let me see here. Let me get it right. Let me see. This say, yes. Push it up. Yep. On top there, those are the Magnificent Seven, which is, let me just bring that, highlight it for you. Okay. You have the NVIDIA. Okay. You got the AMD. You got the TSMC, OpenAI, Meta, Google, Microsoft. Right. Previously in the 2015 and 2020 were cloud computing. Right. Cloud computing was built, and it is. Software as a services or infrastructure as a services. These are big. But right now we are moving into a generative AI where more people can participate, or lack of a better word, more people can be replaced by AI. How this has been very, very powerful. So you go there, and this is where this term they start coining about the super cycle. All right. So super cycle where the trend will actually move up and they don't come down. All right. So this coming down is likely to not have. You see, when cloud came in, then generative AI, there's not really of what we call coming down the demand, but it's just like tapering off. There's still people using cloud, right? There's still people in the mobile internet. There is still the desktop internet, right? It's just that the consumption stays the same. But what we are talking about here, the super cycle, is the pickup that we've seen a lot over 2024 and 2023 that has been shown the market in here. But so I do believe, and I think many of you would agree with me, that this new super cycle can be overly blown out, especially right now. The market is undergoing correction. Now the question is it correction? Is it AI about to bust? So let me present the evidence, and hopefully you are able to make the right decision like I do here. Okay, so let's move on to next. So at the same time, pay attention, right? With this super cycle, Bloomberg came out on June 1st. Okay, take note of the date, June 1st. Generative AI will be a 1.3 trillion market by 2023. The research find in here, because of the demand, which I've talked about, how much you can able to generate, will add 280 billion of new software, and it got a lot of people very excited. So you can see from here, let me just draw you thing. First thing is 1.3 trillion. Okay, let me just read it. Okay, 1.3 trillion by 2023. So that's the first point. Second, 42% cumulative FD growth. That's huge. Now, Microsoft came in on the cloud computing, I think yesterday or this morning, with a growth rate of 29%. They were expecting 31%. Growing at 29% for their Microsoft Cloud Azure. That's very, very strong. Now, this is why the market went up this high too. You have seen Microsoft move from $400. Later, I'll tell you some of the big movement in here and higher. So this with a just on a 29% move, which they reported this morning, it's already very good. But in this Bloomberg intelligence, they are talking about 42%, and it's such that they are adding 280 billion of new software revenue, right? And that's incredible, right? So the question is this even possible? You know, whether what we've seen in here so far. So of course, you will be the best judge of it, whether we see this market continue to move up or not. So at the same time, there are ETF, okay? Exchange traded fund that trades on the Magnificent Seven. I think this one you can just Google it. So what you can see from here, some of the stocks are just as what it says. Tesla 7%, Nvidia 6%, Apple, Amazon, Google Class A share, Microsoft, and Meta. And the other 60% is on Treasury bill. So what they're saying is that many of these stocks, rather than just buying all 7 Magnificent 7, they actually came out with a stock, and it debuted in June 2023. All right, it debuted in June 2023. Let me just bring up the here. Yeah, you can see from here, right? That's the date. Okay, it debuted in November. Sorry, it debuted in November 2023, and it started around what, $31. And since then has gone up to about 48%, okay, up 51%. So that's where we are in here. And the popularity of the Magnificent has really driven big interest that, you know, rather than just buying any of the 7 stocks, you can buy this MAGS exchange traded fund in the US listed in here for $43. So right now you can see the price is actually coming down, and I really want to draw your attention to this Magnificent, which is really behind what the generative AI been. So you can see from here, let's take example Apple at the beginning of January. Okay, let me just erase this again. What, $184. That was in January 31st. So I think it hit $230. Right now it's about 216. You know, that's in the span of 6 months. It's done pretty well. As I said before early on, Apple was one of those lagger stocks, because even coming into the month of June, it was only in negative territory. Then it initially announced for a share buyback, and such that you eventually see the market did move up. So 1 year return was 28%, but Nvidia was the king of the AI, godfather of the AI. Meta done very well. So depending which stock you are in, generally some of the stocks has done, with the exception of Tesla, right? Tesla faced huge competition from BYD, from other electric car manufacturers, from the Koreans to the Kia and the Hyundai. So that is also bringing the share 1 year return of much lower in here. So this wow bunch, right? As you can see here, Nvidia was at $615. It did do 10 to 1 split. So if you have 10 stocks, it will become one stock. So right now, I think last counted is 113 US dollar. So that's about 1,100. It is still high, despite what it is. Make no mistake about it, right? So the question is, can it go higher, right? So the Bloomberg analysts who cover this did make a very strong case for the promising of the growth. So with the kind of growth we're talking about, let's say at the 42% CAGR rate, at cumulative average growth rate. So that is the kind of revenue it can generate. And of course, do take note, we are only in 2024, right? So all these are extrapolation. And many of the times, based on my own analysis, within 1 year, semua sudah lupa di, okay? Semua sudah lupa di. They will sort of taper off. That's generally what will happen. So of course, then this is where the analysts lead into what we call the secondary market. In order to support the generative AI revenue, new devices, like your computer vision AI infrastructures, the data center. Later I talk about the Malaysian data center, the AI server. Our Prime Minister, the 10th Prime Minister, has also courted Microsoft CEO Nadella Santia. I think he came to Malaysia, and they were going to open up a Microsoft data center in Cyberjaya, and they also signed contract with Tenaga, right, for 5-year SLA agreement, and that's why we saw Tenaga so go up. And then we saw Nvidia and YTL Power opening a AI data center. Again, this is on Skudai, I believe. Yep, Skudai. I think I covered this on one of my talks in here. So all these infrastructures, the needed, right? The power, the air cooling, all these are really giving the kind of return it is in. Again, always take this with a pinch of salt, because everybody is driving towards the price higher, and that's always been what many of these analysts in here. And if you go back to 2022, you will also remember during the COVID, when all of us are locked down, remember the speculation and very lofty demands for rubber glove, right? Rubber glove, remember rubber glove, Kosan, Top Glove, Hatta Lega, they are like, in the 20, 30 or 100 over ringgit. But today, the same analysts who are writing it saying that, look, they may not have the kind of growth is because you have huge supply, especially from China. But then there was a news that came out that US want to ban China products, and then Malaysia went up, and then right now it's back to it because the Chinese are highly utilized. Their utilization is about 100% in here, and it is a price war. Okay, it became a price war, as such a lot of the local rubber manufacturers also suffer. And you can see right now, Hatta Lega, after making a new high, came back down and also in the red pentagon. So always when we see this kind of thing, discount it by 50%. All right. So question is, most important is, where do you enter, right? And that's why we bring in the context of the red pentagon and green pentagon, powered by the smart Robies. Now, if you remember in Invest Fair, that was when we did our talk in the Mid Valley. That was a time, 21st of June, the Nvidia turned red pentagon, and there was a big demand for how high and how good Nvidia is going to go. It hit 140. As a matter of fact, the market turned, U-turn, and the red pentagon turned out. Now, take note of the Bloomberg article that came out on June 1st. All right. So June 1st, some dumb money, and I like what Nora say. Be a smart trader. Don't be a sucker for this kind of news. So of course, there will always be some public who read that news on 1st of June. Bloomberg take a few days to absorb, started to buy, right? And then on the 21st of June, the market turned red pentagon. So again, I always go back to this. Is this by chance or is this by design? Right? Now, in the context of smart money, I learned it from Tom Williams in here. You can almost pretty say it, that this is by design. All right? Then the question is, how low is this bubble is going to go before it bursts? And right now, you can see even in the pre-market opening, the market has gone back up to 111. It did hit the low of 103. So if you want a copy of the Pentagon Guider, you can use the Smart Robbie and support us for 9 ringgit 90 cent for 4 exchange market, unlimited market. You can use it, unlimited for a monthly subscription, or those of you who are VSA 360 wanted a bit more premium, able to get to the intraday, subscribe to our VSA 360 together with our TradingView plugin. So this is, remember, 21st of June, right? That's where the market first turned red pentagon. Now also you can look at example MAGS, MAGS, which is an ETF, an exchange traded fund, which generally are more diluted, or they have more sandbagging around the AI stocks. And earlier I shared with you, it has Tesla, it has Nvidia, Apple, and they are smaller percentage. Almost 60% of it are actually invested in cash. So the 40% are actually in stock. They use this to buffer out the volatility in the stocks. If you go just directly to stocks, you're going to get the kind of volatility. But if you do it with the ETF, that's why you get a slightly different return. And you can see from here, the rounded one is around 48% when it hit the high here, okay, on the 11th of July. So 11th of July, why is that? Is because if it is direct, in the case like Nvidia, you kena first. What date was that? 21st of June, right? This one is 11th of July, almost something like 15 or 16 days. So you can see when the good news comes out on June 1st, so that's where a lot of the suckers, that's why I talk about the suckers, they go in and they started to buy, and then the market turned. Use the Pentagon, all right? Use the Pentagon. If you really want to buy some, you wait for the green Pentagon to turn back up before you decide. That will definitely help you to save some money at least. So 11th of June. So with that, of course, people are turning into the analysts. Now, what's really happening? Now, you've been spending a lot of news out there. So Google just came out on the July 24th, and their stocks are not doing very well. This is partly because of the high AI spending. Again, we look into the reason, the story behind why the market fall first, okay? Not so much when it hit the high and then because of the high AI spending. So with the high AI spending in here, and they continue to defend, Sundar Pichai will defend that they are spending very high. So the question mark they always ask for, if you are spending so much money on AI, where is the sales coming in? All right, now remember, all these AI are still pretty much very, very lofty valuation, very, very high, into billions and billions. We talk about 42% cumulative average growth, 280 billion of extra sales. Right? That's a lot. But so far you can see Google expenditure was driven by 13.2 billion, 1 billion more. Now previously you all remember Meta or Facebook who decided to go to Metaverse. I think it spent like 4 billion, right? 4 billion, eventually semua pun kaput. Hangus. So the day that the CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, came out and say, we are done with Metaverse, Meta started to go back up. Okay. So at the end of the day, a lot of these stocks, it's important to see those revenue coming in, right? You can say a lot of things like the Metaverse for Facebook, but same thing with Google spending a lot to chase the other competitor, which is Microsoft in this, Only Apple is one of the consumer stocks. It's very, very late. They're going to announcing the iPhone 15 or iPhone 16. That's right. iPhone 16 will have a AI which will come in September. So we're still waiting for that. Okay, maybe the market will pick back up if the sales of the Apple iPhone 16 have the new so-called boosted by the open AI, which is they are working on, and that would maybe help out with that. But right now, what we've seen so far, smart money is working its way to take money off the table. All right. So NVIDIA, as I said before, is the godfather of AI stocks. Now with NVIDIA going up in here, now pay attention in this chart here is the smart money buying. Now we have the market stages, we have the momentum, we have a blow off. Now I'm going to ask the audience, where are we now? Okay, where are we now? Okay, so are we in the bear trap here or are we up here? Okay, so this always been this the discovery, which is I think we're beyond the discovery, right? Right, what do you think? Where do you think currently the generative AI stock? Is it in bear trap or is it in FOMO? Okay, if everyone else has bought the AI stocks, then you're in FOMO, right? You can see even the Moo advertisement every day on YouTube lah, on the signboard on the street. You can see that NVIDIA stock, right? And the question is everybody buying it? All right. So that is the question is. So my part is that I do feel that the optimism has reached the extreme level in here. Now, the next thing is the coming quarters is important. FOMO, Nora say is FOMO, right? But I do think that we may be somewhere around here. Okay, this is my guesstimate here. Okay, I'm staying positive. We are somewhere around here. Okay, Nora say is here. How about any other audience? Where do you think we are likely to be here? Okay, because we need to make sure there is still revenue supporting some of these AI stock. And also very important this year, just to give you a little bit of hint, is US presidential election between the so-called retired Joe Biden replaced by Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. In any year of the presidential election, we generally see market rally, but there will be a lot of volatility, which we are seeing right now, which is part and parcel a normal thing. You will have corrections. So the question is, going forward, the AI phone, iPhone 16, what will be the pickup rate? That will be sometime in September and October, the result is, which is only 3 months from now. So this correction could be a bear trap, and then it will pick back up again when the renewal optimism will come up here. So that's why I think that we are still here. Market will dip a bit low before they do the next push. When it comes to the euphoria, that's the part I'm not really sure what is likely to happen. So pay attention to the smart money in here. Now, depending, if you have missed out many of this part, you will be buying at the FOMO level, or if you do your Pentagon correctly, you may buy after the bear trap. All right, so this is important to know the super cycle if what I've said earlier on this comes true, because a lot of things also depend on the US Federal Reserve cutting rates in September, which is just 2 more months from now here. So with that, I have to say, going back to some investment strategy, looking back, there were a gold bubble in 77, Japan, Asia, China was there too, when the 2008, you all remember, right? The Olympics in 2008. China was the pinnacle, and that's where I still remember 2008, right? I said, hey, this is the year of the China, 龙的传人, the year of the dragon, and China is going to, stock market is going to go higher and higher, and you can see the market went up 400%, and then finally what happened? China brought back to humble ground. We all know what's happening to China now with the very drenched property sectors, unemployment, high youth unemployment. Many of this are actually getting it. Then we have the biotech, but I want to pay attention also to the Bitcoin, which Trump came in and supported it, and it's gone back up to 70,000, 68,000. A couple of years ago we have FANGs, right? Now it turned to Magnificent 7, and then here is the AI, the generative AI that you've seen so far. So you can see the generative AI is still in early stages, still a baby bubble. If you look at some of the bubble, sudah jatuh. This one belum lagi. As I said before, you if you can't see it, let me just draw it for you here. Okay, this is the AI. Yeah, yang kecil-kecil. This one here. It's a very small baby bubble only. Still got some room to go up. So that's why I differ from some of the audience here, whether it's informal. I think it's just before the bear trap. It's coming down here. Okay, so that's my opinion. I can be wrong. I am wrong many times, but I hope that I share some information with you. Now, also important, let me just move to the side here, is the timeline of the US stock market crash, going back to 1929 to 2021. And a more recent one was the coronavirus. And since then, we have another crash, which is the inflation crash. You know, the inflation back in 2022, right? 2022, with the inflation which was caused by the Russian invading Ukraine. And then we have this whole point where the market went down. And I did talk about it, where the whole invasion will be over in 3 months. But today they are still fighting. Then 2023, there was a recovery year where the inflation was well controlled, and then the market started to move up. So here is, oh, sorry, you can't see it. So I'm just going to bring this up a bit smaller, and then you're able to see this. So my proposal here is likely to be like this, okay? And you can see from the chart, right? So what we are looking at is the 2024-2025 AI crash. That's the proposal, from what the punters, the news, the media are talking about. But as I said before, if you look at the history of the previous chart here, okay, let me just go back to the previous chart. We are in the early stages of baby bubble, and we judge it from the market euphoria, right? We are just before it. And also 2024 is a presidential election year. So I believe here, and I state, I hope I'm right, that the market can still push higher. This correction here is a very nice correction before the market move. And I don't think there's likely to be a 2024-2025 AI crash. A lot of the generative AI are quite true, but we just need to be positive. Now, of course, if we look back into the psychology on the market crash, the question is, where are we in euphoria? Now, we are all going to be rich. We're time to be fully invested, which is here, or we are in denial states. I still think that many people are still not in the market yet, especially in the context of the US market. Perhaps this will give the ability for the market to move higher. Right. So if you look at the MAX, the Pentagon Guider, okay, let's take a look at some of the stocks using the charts that we have here. You can see NVIDIA opened up very nice, 11 points after the sell-off here, okay? And we look at Apple, so the market started to reverse back. So Apple also gap up, okay, they are up 1.5%, and this was huge, down 11%. Let's also look at NQ, right? So that's why you need a VSA 360 like this, to be able to see the market is up, wow, 450%. There has to be some really good news today in here. Let me check my news also in here, right? And so that's let me see what they are. So even at the time when I'm doing this recording of this one here, the Fed may hit a rate cut today. No wonder lah. So look at your phone. Wall Street is watching the central bank every move. A cut probably isn't in a cut for this afternoon, but upbeat economic data is pushing it closer. So of course, one of the things that should come out will be the inflation rate. So this is where if this market can stay, because right now it's still very early, only half an hour, the bugger already shot up 457 points. Usually not a good thing. If we come to end of the day, around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, Malaysia time, then it's better. But right now it's only pukul 10 saja, so usually can turn one. Alright, not so good. You can sell back off, then the trend continue. And also take note, so far this correction is around 11%, 10 to 11% from the high to the low. Now Nasdaq can correct until 15%. So I still feel that this trap can go down some more. Ini punya tipu punya lah. Keep in mind, tipu punya the market can go by, but who knows? I hope tomorrow morning when you and me get up, they have announced the rate cuts, and then you will see a firm, maybe 2-bar reversal to the top side with a 460 point upturn. So that's on this point. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other stocks. We have here Alphabet. Just type Google lah. Google Class A share. Okay, Class A share is, I don't think they have it. I have to type out Alpha lah. Alpha, Google, yeah, this one here. Okay, you can see also down. You can see from this part here, from the high to the low, which was about 14%. You can see 14%. I think Nvidia even more. Let's look at Nvidia. From the high, just use this high lah. We don't go too far away. To this high is 23%. Wow. So that's why this direct hit stock are very fast. Let's look at MAGS, which is the Magnificent 7. All right, so you can see from me also using this, then you have a hint to this low is 14%. So they are much more diluted lah. The impact, the quantum is not so much in here. Okay, now we also have Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft has turned lower. Today is down 1.1%. Although the earnings actually is on the upside, but they were expecting 30% for their Microsoft cloud computing, but they came in 29%. So kena, didn't exit. Okay, but this is a good support here, which does tell you a good level to buy. You see the market has fell 430 to 417, and if you look from the height here, 467 to this level here, that's a 12% pullback. Usually 15%, I think, maximum for some of the more calm stock lah. You can see Nvidia has pushed back a lot more, but I think just wait for the green pentagon. Okay, so now I will turn the attention to another area here. Okay, so which is the reading the market. Now keep in mind, Nvidia was a godfather of AI. June 1st, the bullish news came out, which I talk about here. Then Nvidia and Max turned respectively red pentagon on 21st of June and 11th of July, which does tells you, right, that smart money already taken profit. Now on that basis, early on, I do agree with Nora early on, the market may be at FOMO area here, right? But judging with the US presidential election and also in perspective of the baby bubble, I think I decided to change my mind and I moved back to just before bear trap here. Okay, so why is this important is because, which I've said before, my Sifu Tom Williams talk about volume spread analysis, and one of the things we learn in volume spread analysis is this market stages. All right, so if you apply this market stages accumulation, I'm not going to talk about it tonight because I've done some of the video series in here. Take a look at them. So when you have a chance, switch them to a weekly chart and you will be able to see what I've talked about, whether it's in still before the bear trap or in the FOMO. You can see it all there very nicely in here. So apply them to your Magnificent. That will be your exercise. Your exercise. Please apply them, read the chart and see where you are, because I want to finish off for tonight about the local Bursa market. Now in this article, which is on April 25th, YTL was undervalued despite a surge in share prices. So if you look at YTL for pretty much of 2023, it was up 271%. This year, 2024, up to July, is up 41%. So it made me to check. And if you look into the Smart Robi, it is still rated 5 out of 8. PE of only 10 times with the ROE of 17 times and a dividend of 1.3. So this 3-year target is about 88%. So from a fundamental standpoint, this is still highly rated. So it is undervalued, which I agree with you. But YTL traditionally has been only around the $1, $1.90, hardly break to $2. We're now doing at $5. I begin to question it. Now, if the NVIDIA AI data center comes in nicely, because all those already been pricing into YTL power in there. But if it doesn't come in, that's the question mark. All right. So you may have to pay a hefty in here. So it's either you bet on the big horse in US or you bet on the smaller horses like YTL power. So with that, let me get you to the summary where we are. Now, with the foreign funds, which I've talked about very on my VSA 360 breakfast show. This is from Mumu. You can see research. The Hong Leong anticipate a slowdown in KLSE in the third quarter, followed by resurgence in the fourth quarter. So you can see from here, they are targeting, okay, for this is up to July, 12-month target of 1750. 1750 they are targeting in here, if I can read this right. So right now it's around 1610, 1612. That's still a lot of movement have to go up. So if a lot of movement have to go up, and you will also see on VSA 360, this one is important. So take a picture of this. For those of you who want to benefit from the data centers, construction properties around the area, technology, this will be your hit list. Okay. Due to the time remaining, I will keep this for another session to see where the red pentagon, but I think you can easily check it out with Smart Robi. My job as an educator here is to share with you where are some of these stocks. Use the tools, the Pentagon Guidance, Smart Robi to get where you are. All right. So these are the from the source of Mumu. If you want to trade some of these stocks, whether you trade it on NS, Springs, you can get back in. These are the stocks that you have. But I just want to draw your attention. Before you do that, you want to go over to the Bursa sector, which is one of our tools that we have here. And you want to really check out where are the stocks. So you can see from technology, they haven't turned yet. Right? And you can look at the utilities. Where's the utilities here? It's still red pentagon. Okay, it's turning downwards. So that will give you some sort of a bearings. Okay, you do want to be careful before you jump into the market. Take a look at the whole point of the sectors before you go in. And there is still another piece here from Kanaga Research. All the technology stock, DNO, GHL, Inari, JHM, Kellington, KSM. So these are the one that I've already said before. You can switch on to the industry sectors and pick up from there, right? Keep in mind, with the Pentagon Guider, the rule has always been merely trading them and getting out, all right? So the tech sectors here, we can look at some of those. If you want me to look at some of those, just make sure you pencil in on the comment. Then if I do see them, and I'll comment on the chart. All right. So this is what I've talked about early on. The red pentagon for the technology is valid. It's coming down. Right. Now, why I feel that the market should be in the area before the bull market. One is, if you can see from here, 2024 and the US Federal Reserve rate cuts, right? We are around 5% here, and with the inflation rate coming down to 2%, which is down from 3%, there is a likely of the rate cut, which I've just talked about just now. At the same time, the average choppy period into election since 1950, it's happening. You know, we have only 99 or 98 days to November 6th, which is the election for the 2024 between Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. All right. So in binding state, we continue to support our member through our VSA 360. Some of the tools you have seen, like the sectors, all those are available on our VSA 360 premium membership. And if you're interested, do join them. The CV3 orientation, we continue to do so. You can see some of the members have done pretty well. The Pony Express, which is the strategy that we use for trading short term, has done pretty well, but bear in mind, I'm undergoing through a drawdown right now, but some of the members are doing much better than me. And if you were to join our group, you can also follow them, check out the performance I talked about previously in March and April. And we have our Telegram chat for this. All right, good. I got Grace wanted me to look at Tengaga. Okay, so we'll take a look at Tengaga. So we can see Tengaga just broke the red pentagon, and you got an upthrust. So it's going to be difficult. Anytime you see upthrust, market's going to move sideways first. So you have to wait for that green pentagon. Okay, Affin banks are better. Okay, because banks are started to move back up. Right, this one just a green pentagon. If you look at some of these Affin Bank or even M Bank, they're all moving up, because when the banks move up, right, you can see here, this is when foreign funds were picking up, because if the Mumu year-end analyst is correct, the 175 the banking sectors has to move. Okay, just keep in mind, they have to move. So once the bank move, and it will be nice. You can see 460 in here. I got some for the client in here. You can see moving in here. Okay, any other stocks for this evening? All right. If not, don't forget to join our Telegram chat room for all our free stock market information. We thank you for your support, and I do hope tonight you have learned something. So understanding the AI bubble falls into the macroeconomics, which I explained to you. No doubt the charts and the news seems to be very bearish, but the evidence together with the timeline that we see in 2024 and the Fed rate cuts, I think the market can push higher, but not before it goes through a correction. Use the green pentagon available in the Smart Robbie or the VSA 360 to guide you through them. All right, so that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you on Friday, our breakfast show.